What's going on, guys? My name is DarkPopulous, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the class changes to the Hunter in Warlords of Draenor. So without any further ado, let's dive straight into it. Now the first thing I want to cover for this class is the abilities that have been removed or changed into something else. And the first one of those abilities is going to be Serpent Sting. Now Serpent Sting has been completely removed off the Hunter's skill bar and has instead been moved to a survivalist only ability. Now even on the survivalist tree you will not be able to place this ability on your skill bar. Instead it will be applied to any target that has been hit by arcane shot or multi-shot. Now again, this is a survivalist only ability. The next ability on the list that has been removed is ScatterShot. Now, ScatterShot was a disorientate ability which would allow hunters to aim their traps, and that was its primary purpose, to help players use freezing or explosive trap without missing. Now the reason that ScatterShot has been removed is because Blizzard have tweaked the time it takes for all of the Hunter's trap abilities to proc and activate. Normally when a Hunter places down a trap, it takes it 2 to 3 seconds to activate. This might not seem like much, but it is enough for a player to dodge and avoid the trap completely. Not in Warlords. In Warlords of Draenor, the trap activates the moment it hits the ground, not giving any players a chance to dodge it. This eliminates the need for ScatterShot, so now you don't have to make sure your target is absolutely still for your traps to activate beneath them. One quick note before I move on to the next ability. I want to point out that the effect for freezing trap has been changed. Instead of the target being completely engulfed in ice, only the bottom section of the target is engulfed in spicicles. So that has been changed, and I'll leave that up to you guys whether you think that looks better or not. The post haste talent for your disengage skill has been reworked. Previously, when you pressed the disengage key, post haste would activate at the exact same time, making it so that a few seconds of the speed buff that you gain from post haste is wasted as you're flying through the air. That is no longer the case in Warlords of Draenor. In Warlords of Draenor, post haste doesn't actually activate until you land from your disengage ability, making it so you could use the full duration of the speed buff. Moving on to the next ability that has been removed, and that will be Silencing Shot. No longer do any of the 3 specs, whether it be marksmanship, survivalist, or beast mastery, can use Silencing Shot. Instead, it will be counter shot only. Previously, Silencing Shot was marksmanship only, and before that it was a talent that you could use. And what Silencing Shot had over counter shot was that it would silence a target on top of interrupting any of their casting abilities for a few seconds. I believe it was like 3 or 4 seconds. Next ability that has been changed or removed is probably a really big one for most of you, and that is Aspect of the Hawk. Instead of that being a stance now, it is now a passive ability and will be active permanently on your character. However, it is now called Iron Hawk, and it has also lost the ranged attack power increase, and instead only reduces damage taken by 10%. So now you can use aspects of the cheetah or aspects of the pack without worrying about losing any damage or defense from not having aspects of the hawk active. In Warlords, Blizzard has re-implemented an old aspect which was removed in a previous expansion called Aspects of the Fox. What this ability does is that it allows everyone within a raid, including the player, to move and cast at the same time. So if a warlock wants to cast a chaos bolt and move at the same time, a hunter can use Aspect of the Fox to allow him to do that. This aspect would have really been useful for aim shot in Mr. Pandaria. Speaking of the aim shot ability, which is marksman exclusive by the way, it will now be replacing arcane shot on the marksman spec, meaning you will no longer be able to spam arcane shot as a marksman hunter. You can now also move while casting aim shot in Warlords of Draenor. While we're still talking about the marksmanship specialization, there is one major ability for the hunter that has been made marksmanship only. There is also another ability that has been buffed for marksmanship but isn't as strong in the other two specializations. Rapid Fire is a major DPS cooldown and increases the hunter's haste by up to 40%. This allows the hunter to shoot a lot more quicker, and it cuts the casting time for steady and cobra shot in half. Normally, Rapid Fire would be universal to all three specs, but in Warlords of Draenor it is only usable as a marksmanship hunter. Killshot is a DPS ability which deals a significant amount of damage to a target under 20% health. However, in Warlords of Draenor, this ability gets a slight buff for marksmanship hunters. Normally, if you're Beast Mastery, it would only hit targets under 20%, but as a marksmanship hunter, you can hit targets under 35%. Allowing you to use this ability much sooner. Unfortunately, this ability is no longer available to survival hunters. This next ability has been completely removed, and that one is called Widow Venom. Now what this ability did was that it reduced all incoming healing of a target that was affected by Widow Venom, meaning that if a healer was healing that target, it would be reduced by a certain amount. So instead of taking like 30k healing, you would only take like 12k healing instead. And just like Widow Venom, Scare Beast has been completely removed from the hunter. What Scare Beast did was, it would fear a target that Scare Beast was casted on for a few seconds. Now those targets had to be beast forms. Now it could be a hunter's pet, it could be a beast mob like a bear or a tiger for example, or it could be a feral druid who was in his cat or bear form. The next really big ability for the hunter is Stampede. Now Stampede is one of the hunter's most biggest cooldowns, summoning all your pets for 20 seconds. This has been removed from the hunter's spellbook and has instead been moved to your talents alongside Blink Strikes and Murder of Crows, which means that Linx Rush has been removed from your talents. Going back to the hunter's trap abilities real quick, one of the hunter's default trap skills, Snake Trap, has been removed from your spellbook and has been moved to your glyphs. Now this glyph replaces Ice Trap, reduces the movement speed of all targets hit by the snakes by 50% for 12 seconds. Now I don't really see the need of taking this glyph, seeing as Ice Trap lasts longer and does the exact same thing. And that's some of the major ability changes for the hunter. The next set of abilities I'm going to discuss are the level 100 talents for all three hunter specs. Now the first one is going to be within Beast Mastery, and the level 100 talents are Exotic Munitions, Focus and Shot, and Adaptation. Now Adaptation is a Beast Mastery exclusive talent. In Marksman, and survivalist spec, adaptation would change into Lone Wolf. Now we're going to go over the changes through exotic munitions and focusing shot first before we go to adaptation and Lone Wolf. So let's get to it. Exotic munitions. This allows you to modify your ranged weapon to use exotic munitions. This is similar to adding poisons to your daggers as a rogue, and there are 3 sets of ammunition that you can use. Incendiary ammo is somewhat similar to Seal of Righteousness for the Paladin. It adds fire damage to your auto shots, which whenever it hits a target, spreads AoE damage to all targets within 8 yards of the person who was hit. The next one is poisoned ammo. Each auto shot deals 2,488 additional nature damage over 16 seconds. So basically it adds a dot on top of the target that has been hit. The last one is frozen ammo. Each auto shot deals 849 additional frost damage and reduces the target's movement speed by 50% for 4 seconds. Now, exotic munitions is almost like a second stance bar, however you can't be moving while trying to activate any of these munitions. The next level 100 talent is Focusing Shot. Carefully line up a shot at the target that deals 6,790 physical damage and focuses you, generating 50 focus. Replaces Steady Shot and Cobra Shot. So it kind of makes Steady Shot and turns it into Aim Shot and gives you more focus for using it. Normally Steady Shot would only generate 14 focus. Unfortunately, while using Focusing Shot, you cannot move, again, similar to Aimed Shot. The final level 100 talent switches between Beast Mastery and the other 2 specs. For Marksman and Survivalist, the level 100 talent is Lone Wolf. While you have Lone Wolf, you can have the choice to activate a raid-wide buff. However, you cannot have your pet active in order to use this talent. You have a wide range of buffs that you can add to your raid, such as Mastery increase by 550, Stamina increase by 10%, Critical Strike chance by 5%, Haste by 5%, Spell power by 10%, and Strength, Agility and Intellect by 5%. Again, you cannot have your pet active in order to use any of these buffs. Now when your spec is Beast Mastery, Lone Wolf changes into Adaptation. Adaptation increases the damage of your pet by 85%, and your pet now gains the following abilities regardless of its active spec: Spike Collar, Roar of Sacrifice, Cornered, Boar Speed, Last Stand, Blood of the Rhino, and Great Stamina. So basically what this talent does is that it increases your pet's DPS by 85% and allows you to use some major pet abilities that you would otherwise have to spec into different pet specializations in order to use. Normally these abilities could not be used together, but with this talent you are able to use them regardless. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. My name is DarkPopulous, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!